Good evening and welcome to this edition of KTN Friday Briefing. My name is Betty Kialo.
And I'm Chris Kirubi.
This is the camera. You see this long camera here. It's great to have you in studio, CK.
I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you in studio. Say hi to our viewers.
Hi, viewers. We are all here.
We are all here. So you know what?
Yeah.
A number of people were thinking that you'll have the DJing kit because I would have wanted to see your DJing skills. Maybe teach me a thing or two.
And why not?
And why not? The next time, maybe.
When is your birthday?
My birthday just passed. But there are other occasions to follow.
Okay.
And talking about birthdays, let me ask CK a question that I've always wanted to know. So you have dined with the high and mighty, the presidents, you know, the emirs and everything. You have slept in the best hotels. You have eaten the best food. Just looking at, you know, the eyewear, his spectacles, it has the Maybach label. That's some serious business. I actually Googled and it's, you know, it's quite expensive.
Wow.
Can you allow me to say how much they are?
If you found out, yeah.
I think it's about 5.4 million shillings.
Oh.
Okay, so let me just leave it there. But my question is, say tomorrow was your birthday.
Yeah.
What would a person like me get you? Because, I mean, you have everything. What can I get you that is also pocket friendly? Remember, I don't have, you know, that much money and I don't own those companies like you do.
A bunch of flowers.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of love.
All right, I like that. A bunch of flowers will do.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
CK, as people like to call him, DJ CK, is our guest anchor tonight. Of course, you can make a lot of money, but the question is, can he really read the news? Do you think you can?
I will try. If I can't, please fire me.
I will fire you. Today I'm going to be the HR director.
Yes.
All right, so we have a great show lined up. Of course, we have news coming in from across the country. And of course, Willis the Word Master is also on the menu tonight. But let's begin with the highlights. Quite a packed bulletin we have for you tonight. Our sign language interpreter is Meresha Owiti. Now, Kenyan nationals stuck in the war-torn Yemen may soon be home if evacuation efforts by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs go according to plan. Now, the ministry has said it has arranged to have China and Indian naval vessels retransport the Kenyans to Djibouti. The Kenyans, however, need to make their way to specific locations in neighboring Oman and Saudi Arabia to get the much needed help out of the war-torn country. KTN's Edith Kimani has the details.
If the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has a compass, then it's pointed southwest of Asia, specifically at Yemen. It is from this country on the Arabian Peninsula that the Kenyan government, with the help of the Chinese and Indians, will evacuate an unknown number of Kenyans caught in the ongoing conflict. The ministry's plan is already in motion, according to a statement sent to newsrooms. The Chinese and Indian naval vessels are currently in the region evacuating not only their nationals but also those of friendly countries that have requested them to do so. The statement reads in part, "Those evacuated are transferred to Djibouti for their governments to arrange transport to their respective home countries. A number of Kenyans," the statement continues, "have managed to utilize this arrangement." Trouble in Yemen erupted in September of last year when Iran-backed rebels seized pockets of Yemen after they entered the capital Sana'a, forcing the government to flee. Since then, the country has been embroiled in turmoil, and it is not clear how many Kenyans have been caught in the conflict. According to the statement, however, those stranded on the eastern side of Yemen have been asked to travel to neighboring Oman so that they can be evacuated through Muscat, while those near the border with Saudi Arabia will leave via Jeddah. It is not clear how many Kenyans are currently in Yemen, but the Foreign Affairs Ministry says arrangements are underway to have 150 Kenyans who are in landlocked Sana'a airlifted by chartered planes. Nearly 650 people have died and another 2,000 injured in the conflict in Yemen. Edith Kimani, KTN.
Now, the National Police Service Commission has now called for a fresh police recruitment exercise, effectively throwing out President Uhuru Kenyatta's recent controversial directive to ignore an existing court order. The latest recruitment had been nullified by the court after it was ruled to have been marred by bribery allegations. As KTN's Noor Otieno reports, today's about turn by NPSC comes after a week of criticism and intense pressure on the President and the Inspector General of Police.
The National Police Service Commission hereby announces a new recruitment exercise.
This is the culmination of a week of anger by defenders of the rule of law and a dire warning by the Commission for the Implementation of the Constitution, CIC, following this order by the President last week.
I also further direct the Inspector General of Police to take urgent steps and ensure that the 10,000 recruits whose enrollment is pending promptly report for training at the Kenya Police College in Kiganjo. I take full responsibility for this directive.
The Inspector General of Police, Joseph Boynet, moved swiftly to implement the presidential directive, and the 10,000 recruits who had lost all hope of joining the police service were ordered to report to Kiganjo 2 days from now. But the uproar the order triggered was too intense, even as the government chief legal advisor defended the president.
The president intends at all times to enforce the Constitution and the law. And that is why the consultations we are having are consultations about how we can achieve expeditious recruitment of the police while respecting any court decisions that may exist, while at the same time taking into account what the Constitution demands and what the several laws on the security sector require.
The CIC issued a notice warning the Inspector General of Police and the National Police Service Commission against disobeying the courts. CIC said in their letter that they sympathized with the executive over the need to speedily recruit additional police security officers to bolster Kenya's fight against terror, but warned the AG and the National Police Service against breaking the law as they do so.
The recruitment process will take place on Monday, the 20th of April 2015.
Now, KTN Friday briefing.
Well, that story by Noor Otieno leads us to a big question tonight, and we are asking, do you support the order for fresh police recruitment exercise? Do you support the order for fresh police recruitment exercise? The number to text us is 22155, but you can tweet us. The hashtag tonight is, of course, hashtag Friday briefing, or even at Betty Kello. We'll be looking forward to hearing and, of course, reading your responses. Now, CIS Senator James Orengo today launched a stinging attack against the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, accusing it of having been turned into, and I quote, into a depository of cesspool of gossip, trivia or tripe. Well, this was after detectives allegedly told him they were not ready to interrogate him on allegations made against him in respect to a visit in Magani, a family in Jinja, Uganda, and a parcel of land in Westlands. On his part, suspended Cabinet Secretary for Land, Kazungu Kambi, said he was included in the list of shame because he was a top performer. Patrick Amimo has more.
Hello, gentlemen.
10 in the morning, and CIS Senator James Orengo walks in at Integrity Center for a grilling session over Graft. After 2 hours, detectives are done with Orengo. One of the allegations facing him is attempting to acquire a parcel of family land measuring 0.1194 of an acre in Sondu. Orengo admits he made formal application to acquire the land in 2008, but abandoned the application after he failed to get a title deed.
It is most regrettable and shameful that Orengo can be accused of inheriting 0.1 acre of a piece of family land, 50 by 100 feet square, whereas there are people owning whole counties and provinces and will never take account.
Nobody has laid a complaint that we are aware of, so this is just malicious persecution.
You cannot look for somebody or witch hunt somebody for inheriting family property.
Orengo is also accused of visiting the Madhavani family in Jinja, Uganda. The Madhavanis operate a sugar mill in Uganda with some interest in Kenya. Orengo dismissed the claims. Detectives at Integrity Center told him that accusation is not in their files. Orengo also wonders why his name has been dragged into a land grab case on a piece of public land on Ring Road, Westlands, which has spanned more than 17 years.
What is happening now is not an investigation, it's an inquisition. And I've lodged a complaint to this commission that those who made the allegations against me should be investigated.
It is really shocking, and it is a sad day when a whole constitutional commission is turned into a cesspool of gossip and peddlers of rumors and trivia.
I support the war against corruption, but we want the commission to stop trivializing the war.
Suspended Labour Cabinet Secretary Kazungu Kambi checked in at Integrity Center before 7 in the morning, even before staff reported for work. He remained indoors with the detectives for 9 hours until 4 p.m. He narrated his experience.
We had a lunch break, yes, and a tea break. Yeah, so that's not the longest. In fact, I should be coming here frequently.
Kazungu is suspected of trying to swindle NSSF of almost 2 billion shillings by revising the cost estimate of NSSF Tasia 2 project via email circulation, despite clear indications that the Board of Trustees had not approved the revised cost.
The issues were basically that I've been working so hard on behalf of the ministry, so it's like I should slow down a bit.
Suspended Principal Secretary for Transport Nduva Muli was also grilled by detectives. He is accused of irregularly disposing Kenya Railways properties while serving as managing director. He is also accused of influencing an irregular award of standard gauge railway tender to a Chinese firm. Just like his suspended boss, Engineer Michael Kamau, Nduva refused to field questions for the media. The first week of investigations has seen 3 suspended cabinet secretaries and 2 suspended principal secretaries report at Integrity Center for investigations. Detectives here will have to prove that the investigations are not driven by malice or political witch hunt. Patrick Amimo, KTN, Nairobi.
The High Court in Malindi has declared the curfew in Lamu illegal and ordered that it be lifted immediately. The Law Society of Kenya successfully petitioned the court to lift the curfew imposed by the then Inspector General David Kimayo after the Mpeketoni attacks. The curfew has been extended severally as the region remained relatively calm. But the new Inspector General Joseph Boynet, when asked whether he will obey today's court order to lift the curfew, simply said he was not aware of the ruling. KTN's Francis Ontomwa has more.
Mimi, if I am not wrong, curfew inasema ukisipatikana nje. If you're inside your own compound, you're not supposed to be arrested.
The anger that greeted the prolonged Mpeketoni dusk to dawn curfew, and to rest the blistering back and forth push, the High Court in Malindi has today declared the Mpeketoni curfew extension unlawful and a contravention of the spirit and intent of the law. Delivering the ruling, High Court Judge Said Chitembwe directed that the application by the Law Society of Kenya against the state takes effect. Surprisingly, however, to those tasked with effecting the court ruling, the news is yet to hit home.
I'm unaware about that one.
The Mpeketoni curfew has played great concern to not only residents but also investors. Tamani Junior School is an initiative by Dutchman William van den Berg. The center was established to assist the underprivileged.
This school a few years ago, we have now classes up to class 5. We have 3 nursery classes, so in total 8 classes. And our aim is to give underprivileged children from poor areas good, very good education.
The effects of the curfew have been evidently painted, with learning slowly gathering momentum.
I think Mpeketoni is the most important town in Lamu district. And the protection that we have here is not enough for the whole area. And that was proved that night because there were not enough policemen.
William and his wife Ann Karaoke were compelled to start farming and rearing livestock to sustain these children.
We realized that it's not only a maize banana area, because we realized that there are also other things that are also doing very well. We have onions, we have cabbages very much recently that are also doing here.
William and other residents of Mpeketoni hope that the lifting of the curfew will not only stabilize learning but also spur business growth and perhaps bring back the good old days. Francis Otomwa, KTN.
Now, leaders from northeastern Kenya have embarked on a campaign to engage the different sectors and groups in the 3 counties of Garissa, Wajir and Mandera to try and get to the bottom of the terror crisis there. Well, the move also involves chiefs with critical information in the fight against terror. But at the same time, a section of the church leaders there say the Garissa attack is an indication of religious persecution. And now they want parliament's majority leader Aden Duale to resign if he doesn't name the financiers of the Al-Shabaab as promised. Dorcas Wangera reports.
Majority of the masterminds and perpetrators of the Garissa University attack were young people. No wonder Al-Shabaab, the terrorist militant group, means a youth movement or the movement of striving youth. Leaders from the northeastern belt are moving in, cognizant that a different strategy is much needed.
Al-Shabaab is radicalizing in the social media. We must take the battle to them where they are.
And our women and our chiefs to implement the Nyumba Kumi initiative so that we do a complete census, a fight that not a county government, not a national government can do alone. We are doing it together to tafanya kazi. We have detailed out the scripts that we want to start working on.
Evangelical church leaders now say the Garissa attack is a religious issue. Chairman of the Evangelical Alliance of Kenya had prepared an official statement for the press, but instead
I just decided to tear it up and say we are retired leaders have said they know the people who are involved. They know the Al-Shabaabs in their localities. There is no way one would be elected in a position of an MP or a government without having networks right in the grassroots. So they know these people. And we are demanding, if they have not forwarded the names, by now, they should resign.
Security analysts warn that the group still remains a principal threat, luring more youth to fight for their cause. The northeastern leaders are out to meet different sectors of the society in Garissa, Wajir and Mandera, an initiative that will take a marathon tour spanning 3 days. Dorcas Wangira, KTN.
Now, the French government has said it will pay a whole year's fees for 79 students who were injured during the terror attack at the Garissa University College last week. France gave the offer as the Italian government also stepped in with a promise to give scholarships to 25 students from the university to study in Italy. KTN's Najma Ismail has the details.
27 bodies of the victims of the Garissa attack were today released from the Chiromo morgue for burial. George Williams, who is the coordinator of the exercise, however, said their target was 40 bodies by the end of this week, but they couldn't achieve that due to the identification process.
Watu wako tofauti. Kuna wale wanasema wanataka kutoa body. We are not forcing families kuwapatia when to kuchukua body ya mwisho. But most likely or target maybe next week on Thursday.
Meanwhile, Italy has offered 25 scholarships to students who survived last week's terrorist attack at the Garissa University College. Minister for Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Paolo Gentiloni said these 25 students will be offered full scholarship to study in Italian universities. Gentiloni also added that his government will give the country a soft loan to help settle the students in the aftermath of the attack. The French government, on their part, pledged to pay a whole year's fees at the Moi University for the 79 students who were injured during the attack. The students who will be relocated from Garissa to the Moi University are expected to report to their respective classes on May 20th, 2015. Najma Ismail, KTN Friday Briefing.
And now my guest anchor, DJ CK, joins me. Now, women in Central are opting to have only 2 children, while Nyanza has recorded the highest number of teenage pregnancies.
This is according to a survey conducted by the National Demographic and Health Survey in 2014, when it sampled the views of at least 40,000 women across all the counties.
Well, here's KTN's Catherine Omwatho with the details.
28-year-old Jacqueline Onyando, a businesswoman here in Umoja Estate, has 2 children aged 8 and 4. She says she has tried 2 types of contraceptives. It took her a while to find a modern method that suited her.
First, it was injection. I hear people talk about injection that you can take a long period of time before you get another kid. So I decided to use Femiplan pills.
She represents a majority of women in Nairobi and central Kenya. According to the National Demographic and Health Survey, women in Nairobi and central Kenya give birth to at most 2 children, a trend that seems to be irking politicians, especially those from central Kenya.
So even me and you, tufanye mpango ingine ya kuongezea kidogo. Tuongezee ndio namba isiende chini sana.
But it's not as simple as she may want to think. In the survey conducted in 2014, married women from central Kenya are the highest consumers of contraceptives at a whopping 73%.
Life has become so expensive, and most of us are feeling the pressure.
Central province, the areas around Nairobi are more advanced, so people are more informed.
But some residents here relate it to deeper troubles.
Shida hapa ya alcoholism na marital problems is poverty problem. Kwa sababu huyu uko na degree, hakuna mahali unaipeleka, sisi wote tunaenda kwa koroga.
So if they come home drunk today, tomorrow the other day, they always lose interest in them.
Because vijana hawezi fanya hii mambo ya kitanda hawezi.
Central Kenya is followed by Eastern Region, where 70% of married women surveyed were on modern family planning methods, with Northeastern having the lowest demand of 3%. Perhaps because majority of Muslims, like Catholics, do not support the use of contraceptives. In turn, Wajir in Northern Kenya stands as the county with the highest birth rate in the country. The average woman here gives birth to at least 7.9 children, followed by West Pokot at 7.2 and Turkana at 6.9. Women living in counties such as Turkana, West Pokot and Samburu may actually desire to limit the number of births but do not have access to contraceptives. And even though only 5% of such women will use traditional methods of contraception, as explained by Lydia.
There is the safe days after your periods, you know your cycle. After, like for me, it is after 21 days. The next 8 days I'm safe. Then there's the withdrawal one.
Perhaps the reason women like Elizabeth, a mother of 6, do not use such methods is that her community is still deeply rooted in traditions. But the positive aspect is that the unmet need for contraceptives has reduced from 26% in 2009 to 18% in 2014.
In 1977, it was recorded that the average Kenyan woman will have 8.1 children. Now, in 2014, when this survey was done, it was reported that the average Kenyan woman will have 3.9 children, which means that contraception is something that is being widely accepted. The problem now is teenage pregnancy.
About 40% of girls surveyed have begun childbearing. Early childbearing is higher in Nyanza region, followed by Rift Valley and then the coast. The survey reveals that teenagers from poorer backgrounds are more likely to start childbearing at 26% compared to teenagers from wealthier households, which is 10%. In general, the survey indicates that poor households tend to have more children than richer ones. Catherine Omwatho, KTN.
Let's use this camera, CK. So I think you did pretty well co-anchoring.
Wow.
All right, so we are just about to take a short commercial break after that very interesting story by Catherine Omwatho. Do you think women should be forced to have more children than they really want? 2 is okay, right?
I don't think the numbers are the issue. The issue is what budget do families have.
Yeah.
If you can manage to look after 4 kids, you have 4. If you can only manage to look after 1, you take care of 1. So it's a question of how much can you give the children the life you want them to lead. Equally, the health of the mother is a very important factor in making sure that you have children which do not also damage the mother's health.
It's very true, very, very true there. All right, so we just about to take that short commercial break, but let's have a reminder of our big question tonight. And we are asking you, do you support the order for a fresh police recruitment exercise? Do you support the order for a fresh police recruitment exercise? The number to text in is 22155, but the hashtag, of course, is hashtag Friday Briefing or at Betty Kialo. And this time on, because CK is my guest anchor, you can also tweet him at Kirubi.
Yes.
All right, so we take that break. We'll be back with the DJ himself in a short while. Stay tuned. Welcome back to KTN Friday Briefing. Before we get to the guest anchor and, of course, having a chit-chat, let me just introduce him to you, a short profile. Let's start with, of course, who he is. There you go. He was just here. So he is a leading Kenyan entrepreneur with investments in media, manufacturing, property management, and insurance. Let's now take a look at the companies, different companies that he, of course, heads. Of course, we have the Hako Tiger Brands Kenya, the Capital Media Group that has, of course, the Capital FM, and International House Limited. He is, of course, the chairman of this particular building, International House Limited. He's also the chairman of DHL Worldwide Express Limited and Coca-Cola Nairobi Bottlers. And this is just a tip of the iceberg, really. He's done quite a lot. Let's take a look at some of the awards that he has been feted with. He was honored as Africa's CEO of the Year this year, actually in March, last month, by the Africa CEO Forum. And he's also the recipient of the Elder of the Burning Spear, and he's also the recipient of the National Order of Merit Medal. These are just few of the awards that Dr. Chris Kirubi has been awarded. He also sits in the Harvard Global Advisory Council, among others. So he's a guy who's done quite a lot, and of course a leading entrepreneur, philanthropist, industrialist here in Kenya. Let's now go and get to know a lot about him. CK, it's great to have you. I mean, your Twitter already is a buzz.
Oh.
Our SMS lines, I've never seen them like that, honestly. Yeah, this time you can just look at me, perhaps. Yeah, just leave these guys alone. Let's have a chit chat. So I want to talk a bit about the award that you were given recently.
Yes.
Congratulations, first of all.
It is in order.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've received so many awards. What did this one mean to you, the Africa CEO Award?
Well, this award came to me as a very major surprise because I didn't know that we were being audited around the world, Africa especially, and when I went to this event in Geneva, there were over 800 of us in that place, and people from every corner of Africa. And when it was announced, the final award came just last. I did not even expect it. And two of us, a Moroccan and myself, won the, I think he was, he was Moroccan, and myself got tied up for first plus award, and it was amazing. A lot of colleagues were there, many Kenyan business people were there, and we literally had a party after that.
I'm sure you like parties. That's
it was very good. It was very good to be with all your friends.
Yes,
and more so it was important for Kenya.
It was
because a lot of news that goes from Kenya, especially from the media, is just how disastrous we are. But here we were winning awards, and it was very important because even the Equity Bank also won the banking awards. So it was a good time for Kenya. I was proud that
definitely, and of course,
I helped to bring honors to Kenya,
which is a good thing, which is something that we should all strive to do. But let's talk about you being a leader. 2 days ago, I was at your office, and of course, I was there's some things that stood out for me. First of all, I realized the cordial relationship and of course mutual respect that you have between, of course, you and your employees. They're very fond of you. It's sort of like a family. My CEO is probably watching, Mr. Sam Shuley. I think we have the same thing with him, but for you, it felt very special. Is it something that you've actively and intentionally decided to do, to create that understanding? And how does it help in terms of being a CEO and a leader?
You know, I spend more time at office than in my house. And therefore, office is my home. And if you have a home that you don't have the right environment, the right people, the people you can laugh with, the people you can consult, you know, it's not very easy. So in my office, I decided all the people who work for me, they are my friends, they are my colleagues. I remove the hierarchies and we are all on the same level base, and they call me sometimes chairman, sometimes
I had
CK,
that. Yes.
sometimes DJ CK. And it is easy to get the best out of people when you don't frighten them, when you are not dominating over them. You should not be domineering on your staff. They can't bring out their best.
Right.
So for me, I feel that people who give their life, their time to work for me, they deserve more.
They deserve more. Yes. And according to the presentation that I've just done about you've done quite a lot for this country in terms of, you know, you're a philanthropist, industrialist. I mean, if you go to Wikipedia, there's so many words that, you know, try to describe, you know, what you do. And I'm just wondering, is there anything that up until now you feel that you still need to achieve? Do you have dreams like I would have of, you know, becoming, you know, something close to who you are? Do you have dreams?
Let me tell you, you got to dream in order to know where you want to go.
Okay.
You got to have a vision. I am proud that I was one of the few people who helped to make Kenyan Vision 2030.
Okay.
And this country has a vision, and that's why Kenya should do very well. Unlike many countries in Africa who do not have any direction where they're going. So a vision is a directional map that shows you, guides you, is a beacon that makes you want to get where you want to go. And therefore my vision is like when you're in the desert, you look at the mirage, by the time you get there, the water has moved many miles away. My life is like that. My life keeps moving. I keep on working so hard. I work harder now than I worked ever before.
And why is that? Someone would, you know, assume that right now you have everything figured out.
I've
just
never
sit back in your corner office.
I've never arrived. If I make 1 billion, I want to make 5. If I make 5, I want to make 20.
Okay.
I like to be a dollar billionaire, not a shilling billionaire.
All right.
So, because you have power, you can support more people. If you can do better, you pull a lot of people along with you. And this to me is a journey that has no end.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about what you've just mentioned, that it is actually right now where you're getting to, you know, to work even harder. Let's relate it to the youth of Kenya. Right now, the unemployment rate in Kenya is at, I think, 40%, and about 65 of those are the youth. You're very passionate about young people. You know, you have the Ask Kirubi on Twitter. How can you advise, or what can you tell, you know, young people who want it fast and want it now? They have the 1 million in the bank and they think that this is it now.
You know, a lot of youth, they earn and spend. I try to help them by telling them, earn, save, and spend later when you have grown your wealth. Many people don't have patience. They don't have long-term view of their direction, where they're going. And therefore, it's important to talk to the youth. It's important to be an icon for the youth. And this is what I try to do. I go around universities, I go around many schools, talking to them. I feel we all deserve to give youth better advice, because you find in schools, there's so much pressure from the lecturers. They don't have time to mentor any individual youth. And equally, the professors in universities, they are theoretical. They are not
Practical. All right.
So we need to partner with the theoretical people in order to mold our youth for the betterment of this country of ours.
And right now in Kenya, what would you say are the opportunities that have presented themselves for young people right now?
I think one of the most important thing is what the President Uhuru Kenyatta is trying to do. Creating funds to support the youth, creating opportunities for youth to participate in tendering, giving them 30% of whatever tenders there are there. We need to make sure that the youth are mentored to know how to do some of this business. We also need to appeal to the government that once the youth have tendered and they have delivered the goods, we should not follow the long route that all of us do suffer when our money is held by government for many, many months. Because the youth have very little capital, and if you interrupt their cash flow, then they cannot do another tender. So we need to make sure that there is a rule, there is a law that makes sure the money by business of the youth is paid to them once they deliver within 2 weeks.
All right.
That way they can also engage on another business. And I think this is where I fault whatever we are trying to do for them, but we also need to educate them. We need to create finishing schools where we take them and mentor them on type of businesses they want to be in. If they want to be in tourism, we take them to a tourism camp and train them. If they want to do road construction, again we do the same. So there is a lot we can do, but you know, these ideas need to come from all of us. We don't need to leave government only to contribute to the ideas.
I like that you're mentioning, ideas, and someone had tweeted and asking that if they have an idea, how do they approach someone like you? You know, how can they get audience with someone like you to listen to them and see if it could work?
Well, I think that is somebody who doesn't communicate with me because I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I have asked Kirubi on, I'm sorry to say, on Capital website. You can put it on your site as well.
So they just need to look
All we need is communication. You know, for me, I'm not like the big media when you said we don't want our material carried by by other people. For me, you can carry my material because you'll be helping me to spread the word. And let them ask Capital. They can get my contacts.
Or they can put it on our website.
Totally talk to the youth all the time. And today there are a lot of them on the website.
Definitely, they're watching
I'm
and they're
sure you've seen that.
Yes. And because we're running out of time, you know, apart from the serious, you know, Dr. Chris Kirubi, we know you're the sort of person who interacts with, you know, the presidents, you know, and very, you know, senior people around the world. Do you have normal friends, like, you know, like the youth you're talking about would call them mtunguyas?
I have friends from right the bottom to the very high on top. And I find it very rewarding because from those who are more powerful, more senior to me, I learn my civility, how they manage their affairs. When you meet the ruler of Abu Dhabi, you know, he's such a humble man, and yet this man has such a vision. And it is only in this territory of his, you say, people take the sand to the sea and take sea to the sun, to the desert. So there are many things we can do in this country of ours. And I believe, before I finish, that we need to educate our youth to be more proactive, to be less negative, to look at a government to support them, to put their views in a nicer way, not to say they have never earned anything in this government. You know, once you are negative, you remain negative
forever.
If you are positive, you find things happening for you that you did not even realize.
Okay.
So we need to see how life is all about.
All right.
Not negativity
Not
all
negativity
the time.
all the time. CK, I want us to walk to the news desk yet again, where you get to introduce yet another story to us. You know, remember you're the guest anchor. Apart from giving us those very important insights.
Which story am I introducing?
All right, you just have a seat there. I'll remove this one. Let me just, yes. There we go. Have a seat. And after you read this story, I'd like to know just if you'd get an opportunity to be someone else, who would you want to be? But that, of course, you'll tell us after you introduce this particular story to us. So there you go. Camera 2, take it away.
President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto's second anniversary in office since their swearing in has passed almost quietly as the challenges facing the country threaten to overshadow their achievements. KTN's Sam Ogina now takes a look at their style of dealing with the major issues facing the country now and how their communication on strategy is affecting their reputation.
Insecurity and terror threats have overshadowed the second anniversary of the Jubilee administration, putting the Uhuru legacy at crossroads.
Political rhetoric, 2 years in power, they are excellent.
The sovereignty, integrity,
and the dignity of the people of Kenya.
Having taken the oath of office on April 9th, 2013, President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy have worked towards ensuring they deliver on their pre-election pledges, but they have had to deal with homeland security issues that is stalking a threat to their performance ratings and have the potential to stoke public backlash at the polls.
During this holy period of Easter, the families and communities of the fallen should take solace in recalling that after the evil of the cross on Friday, and when the devil thought he had triumphed, Sunday's hope arrived.
He has done so much in terms of talking tough on security issues, but when it comes to the practical aspects of it, the execution has been quite limited.
Threats and attacks have been meted out on Kenyans, lives have been lost. Government has ignored crucial warnings from foreign nations that have proved catastrophic.
And so our sovereignty is at threat when the president speaks from the comfort of State House and does not move around the country, especially in regions affected, to show support.
It has been an uphill task for Jubilee to secure the nation, their performance mainly punctuated by hard talk from the official dome and a few reactive measures to bombard the Al-Shabaab regions. But only after the terrorists have executed their senseless killings of innocent Kenyans.
We shall employ all means at our disposal to bring the perpetrators to justice.
To mark their second anniversary, the president's digital team launched a social media campaign, the hashtag 2 years of success, to highlight the milestones made by the administration. The campaign launched at a time the country and the world as a whole was mourning 147 souls lost in the Garissa campus siege. A miscalculated move, according to analysts.
I think the digital arm of the government, or the digital department of the government, needs to be a little more conscientious and empathetic and aware of the times, so as to know when a campaign is proper.
Analysts quip with 2.5 years to go, the Uhuru Ruto administration will have to do more than issuing ultimatums, threats and tough stances in dealing with security. None of the tough talk and ultimatums have helped secure the nation. On the contrary, the country continues to bleed. Samugina, KTN.
Thank you, Sam, for that story. I think you did quite well.
Oh my word, I keep my job.
No. You know, you can threaten my job here. But you did so well. But of course, you can tell us how DJ CK fared on reading that and introducing that story. The hashtag, of course, remains Friday Briefing. Well, how do you think you fared yourself?
Well, I hope I did okay. I would rather be judged, not judge myself.
We would have employed you, but I don't think we can afford you, CK, so it's fine.
I can do it for charity.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
Why not?
All right, so now do your thing.
And now I believe it's time for business news, and I would like to introduce Abby Agina.
Yes.
Please.
Good evening, Dr. Chris Kirubi. How are you?
I'm fine, Abby.
It's always refreshing to have you in studio. I just have one question for you.
Yes.
You're one of the exemplary CEOs in the country, and you do quite a number of things. One of them is DJing. Maybe what drove you to do this?
I did learn something about DJing because simply my company that I bought, Capital FM, all there was is playing music. And when I told my people how to direct them, how to do their music, they told me you didn't understand what they were trying to achieve. So I took a lot of time to understand them and to understand the business I had got myself into. And I've never looked back because I built a huge following, and literally it's my comfort. It's the biggest thing I have. When I go there, I relax, and it's my life savior.
Well said, well said. Thank you very much. And actually asked that because I have a brother who is also keen about DJing. Well, coming up next is the business news, and we tell you why the Mining Cabinet Secretary Najib Balala has opted to cancel licenses of 65 mining companies. Don't go too far. More news coming after the break.
Coming up shortly. And of course, don't go away. We still have DJ CK in studio. Let's take that break.
I'm happy, and I hope my colleagues, my friends, my families on social media, they are with us and watching all this happening.
Oh, trust me, yes. They are. All right, let's take that break.
Well, a very good evening and welcome to KTN Business. My name is Abi Agina. For years, the Central Bank of Kenya has operated under the stewardship of the governor, who acted both as chairman and CEO of the bank. But now the government is looking to establish the position of chairman, who will henceforth be charged with setting the policy of CBK and supervising the performance of the governor. In the third of the fourth part of the CBK succession series, Adelaide Changole looks at the role of the chairman and the potential problems that could arise from the two centers of power at the central bank.
In 1966, the central bank was established by an act of parliament as the state sought to create an institution that would set independent monetary and financial policies. Since then, the bank has operated under the guidance of the governor, who has chaired the board and also managed the administrative matters at the bank. But in 2011, all that changed.
And that is when the shilling went way high, if you remember. And the parliament went out of its way to want to understand the issues. And the feeling that time is that central bank acted like a cartel to protect some internal big boys to gain out of that famous exchange movement of that time. Hence, almost what I would call a one single voice of the whole house that we must bring a chairman.
Until now, however, the bank has not had a substantive chairman, with Dr. Mbui Wagasha holding the position in acting capacity since February 2013. But the state is now moving to rectify this. In an advert on March 11th, the Public Service Commission called on interested parties to send their applications for their position. According to the advert, the incoming chairman would be charged with determining the policy and objectives of the central bank, overseeing performance of the bank and the governor, and monitoring the use of bank resources, all activities that had been under the purview of the governor previously.
The governor of the central bank should be responsible and should be reporting and should be accountable to his board. If he chairs that board, there's the risk, which is very real, that he could take over the agenda of the board.
But the emergence of a second center of power within the central bank has raised concern, with outgoing governor Professor Njuguna Ndung'u saying it goes against best practice. Moreover, the role could be a potential source of ambiguity that could harm the economy in case of a crisis requiring swift action.
In most of our state corporations, the chairs are starting to behave like they are the CEOs, which is not correct governance.
But the biggest reservation with the new structure is the decision that the chairman would determine the policy and objectives of the central bank, which could affect formulation of monetary policy. And this contravenes the principles of the independence of the central bank.
The Constitution says the central bank will not be under any direction of anybody in doing its work.
As such, the experts want the state to properly define and separate the roles of the governor from those of the chairman so that there is no ambiguity, and establish a proper firewall that will isolate the formulation of monetary policy from any interference.
If the chair becomes an administrative, what I would call authority for allowing the correct discussions to happen in the board, but not to allow the technical part of the work of the bank, which is where the word monetary policy comes in. That area of monetary policy should never be a domain of the chair.
The spokesperson for the institution should actually be the chief executive, in this case the governor, who is responsible and should be explained to the public. This is what we aim to achieve.
Of the 8 people who applied for the role of chairman, the PAC shortlisted 4, among them Dr. Bernard Wagasha, the outgoing CBK chairman, Dr. Benson Ateng, currently chair of Consolidated Bank, Dr. Nicholas Koriru is presently at the Commerce Monetary Institute, and Mohamed Nyaoga, chairman of EcoBank. Adley Changole, KTN Business.
Well, interesting perspectives there on whether we should have the chairman or not. Moving on, Nairobi County is planning to roll out an integrated revenue county management system in the next 2 months as it seeks to boost its revenue collection. In an exclusive interview with KTN, the Deputy Governor of Nairobi, Jonathan Mweke, says the system will seal the massive revenue leakages currently going into billions and allow the county governments to offer better services. News that the Nairobi County government planned to digitize the payment of parking fees were greeted with skepticism across the board. But the pipe dream has turned into reality and transformed the way motorists pay for these services.
We were totally on a manual system of revenue collection, which was very, very cumbersome for our county across all revenue streams. Now we are doing about 4,000 transactions a day, collecting an average of about 1.8 million shillings a day.
Following the rollout of the e-payment solution dubbed eGGPay, the county registered a 60% rise in revenues.
Now that we have an easier process, more people paid. So we've seen our revenue increase very, very seriously. We are now at about 1.3, 1.4 billion shillings. And I think it's revolutionized the way completely the city is able to give services.
The county is now working on an integrated county revenue management system that will plug the revenue leaks that are estimated to cost the county billions every year.
We estimate that we lose about 30%.
According to Mweke, the new system will make it easier for the county to prioritize, allocate and spend its money.
To provide services costs money. So we need to be able to collect all our revenue so that we can provide the other services, to clean up the city, be able to do the decongestion of traffic, put up your street lights, fix your potholes and all that kind of stuff. It costs money to do that. So now we are working on procuring a revenue management system and we are just waiting for a no objection from the World Bank, which was supposed to have come on February 28th. So we are a month late. But the day that no objection comes from the World Bank, the tender will be advertised in the newspaper the next day.
The adoption of e-payment solutions have become a popular culture in the country, and it's having a profound effect on curbing embezzlement of funds. Well, interesting developments there for the county of Nairobi. And before we take our financial report, 65 companies will no longer be allowed to continue with exploration in the country following the revocation of their licenses by the Mining Cabinet Secretary, Najib Balala. Balala, in a Gazette notice, has cancelled the licenses of these companies on grounds of non-compliance and non-performance. Well, we'll be telling you more about this story, how it develops across the week. Let's now take a look at how the financial markets performed. Well, from my end, it's a good night, and coming up next as well is Betty Chalo with Mind Your Language.
Well, it's that time of the night that we all love. Time to learn some English pronunciations. Note that it's not pronunciations, but pronunciations. Willis, let me bring you in right now. I'm trying to take over what you do best.
Betty, I'm really touched by that when you talk of pronoun. We have the verb pronouns, but the noun form is pronunciation, not pronunciation.
All right. Willis, it's great to have you tonight. Looking good as always. I'm seeing we're rocking the, the color of royalty.
And another coincidence.
I know, Willis. All right, let's get straight to our word on the street. Let's hear this.
Damnedest, damnedest, damnedest.
Danidest. Danidest. Damnedest. 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 Damnedest.
Damnedest. Damnedest.
Damnedest. Damnedest.
Damnedest. Damnedest. Damnedest.
Dandest. Dandest. Dandest.
Damnedest. Damnedest.
Damnedest. Damnedest.
Damnedest. Damnedest. Damnedest. Damnedest. Damnedest.
Damnedest. Damnedest.
Willis, there you go. Some difficult pronunciations there. Let me tell you, Willis, if you give me that word, I'd also have a lot of trouble with it. Take us through that word. Let me spell it out. D-A-M-N-E-D-E-S-T. How do you pronounce that word that is used to emphasize something?
Well, in the first place, that word is not commonly used in British English. In fact, it's an informal word commonly used by the North Americans, Betty. But the pronunciation is damnedest. Damnedest. So you talk of most surprising, that is the damnedest thing I saw at the fair. Or you have also, to work hard as much as you can, to do your damnedest.
Okay.
Not damnedest, not damnedest.
All right. Got it, Willis.
Yes.
Let's straight move on to the second word. Now, it's a word that is the act of investigating or asking questions. Do we say inquiry or inquiry?
We say inquiry, inquiry. But what we must remember is we have inquiry with I at the onset, beginning with letter I. The other one begins with letter E. The one with letter E is British spelling, and the one with letter I is American. Just like color with O-U-R, British, and O-R, American spelling.
Got it, Willis. Got
inquiry.
It. Inquiry. Got it. All right, let's move on to another word here. It's a book that lists words in groups of synonyms, sort of like a dictionary. I hope I've said that correctly. Is it thesaurus, thesaurus? How do you pronounce that word, Willis?
The word is thesaurus. Thesaurus.
Thesaurus.
Not thesaurus, not thesaurus, thesaurus. And the plural is thesauri, thesauri, not thesauri.
Okay.
No.
All right, Willis. Let's
but
move
you
on.
also have thesauruses.
All right, thesauruses. Got it. Now let's move on to another one. A word that means, the office or authority of the Pope. Is it papacy, papacy? Is it papal or papal?
We say papacy, papacy, not papacy the way it's commonly pronounced locally. Papacy and papal. Papal, not papal, not papal.
Okay, got it, Willis. Now, there's this word that a lot of students use, especially in chemistry. Do we say aluminium or aluminum? I had varied pronunciations on this word.
Betty, we have luminary, luminary, but the word which you are asking about is aluminium, aluminium.
What? Just repeat that.
Aluminium.
Wow, okay. Aluminium.
There you are.
Aluminium.
Yes.
That's a surprise, really. I'm sure that should have been a surprise word. Aluminium and not aluminium like we're used to saying. Alu. All right. Okay.
Yes.
Aluminium. All right. Got it, Willis. That's a surprise. I used to say aluminium. But anyway, let's move on to our... Yes, Willis? Okay, Willis, let's get straight to our next word. Do we say country or country, taking into consideration that we say county? So is it country, same as county, or is it country, and why?
Betty, I've always talked about irregular sound values for similar letter sequences in English phonology. That is the speech sounds in English, or the sound system.
Okay.
So we have country, country, but we also have county, county with a glide or a vowel glide. County, country. Just like we have horse, but we say was, not was.
Yes.
I hope you get that.
I get it, Willis. All right, so it's country but county.
Yes.
So it's okay, fine then. Let's move on to another word here. Debacle or debacle?
Debacle, debacle, debacle. What people should avoid, especially in careers of serious communication, is saying debacle, 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 not debacle.
Another surprise.
Like depot, not depot, not depot. We say depot, beer depot.
Yes, all right. And I think it's also prudent that you talk about deposit or deposit.
Well, that one, the problem is many people think it's pronounced the way it is spelled, which is not the case. We say deposit, deposit, not deposit.
All right. But the word we started with is debacle, debacle. Is that right?
Debacle.
Debacle.
Yes.
All right. Willis, we've had such a number of surprises. Do we have any other surprise for tonight, Willis?
In the first place, there is a lady in Kisumu City called Achieng Abwom who was also asking me a question. Do we say loud or loud when somebody speaks loudly? I told her already you've gotten the correct pronunciation. We say loud, loudly.
Okay.
Anyway, my surprise word tonight, Betty, is when we come to, people talking of a large group of insects like flies or bees. Many people say a swarm, swarm.
Yes.
Which is the past tense of the word swim. Swim, swarm.
Yes.
But when we talk of a swarm of bees, we should avoid swarm.
Okay.
So we say swarm, swarm. A swarm of bees, a swarm of locusts, but not a swarm of bees. So swarm, no.
All right.
Swarm.
Swarm. Willis, that's a great way to end there. Such a surprise. A swarm, debacle. Those are very crucial words and, very interesting surprises. Willis, always a pleasure having you on the show. I guess it's up to next week. Until next week, God willing.
Thank you for now.
All right. Willis, the word master, coming to us from Kisumu County, teaching us those difficult pronunciations. You can always get him right here on KTN Friday Briefing or his Twitter handle at Willis Ochieng1. Welcome back. Time for sports. European Challenge Tour first-timer Jose Felipe Lima from France has taken the lead after the opening day of the 48th Barclays Bank Kenya Open Golf Tournament. Lima carded 8 under par 64, while the local crowds had also plenty to cheer on about the opening day, thanks to the efforts of Kenyan stalwart Dismas Indiza, who carded a 3 under par score to open the 16th start in his National Open.
20-year-old South African Hayden Pottinger pulled out a narrow 2-stroke advantage after the second day's action at the Barclays Kenyan Open, and that's after the round of 65 that saw him post a 13 under par. Portuguese is ahead of the first day leader Jose Felipe Lima from Portugal, thanks to his 7-under-par score in the day that he only dropped 2 shots over the opening 36 holes. Dismas Indiza is the best placed Kenyan player after his swings aided him with a 3-under-par that accumulatively added to his 6-under-par at the end of the day too. That left him tied on position 14.
Kosi leo imewekwa mashimo wameweka kando kando sababu tulikuwa nafikiri leo na nitaingia ndani kabisa, lakini nimejaribu siku kwa mbaya sana, lakini bila namba 12 ndio nimeletea shida kidogo hapo. Nikasema anyway, sasa siwezi kusema golf inakuanga hivi.
Kutoka jana venye wanacheza haki ingine unakosa kuelewa kweli ni nini.
Greg Snow, the youngest player to ever represent Kenya in the year 2006 at the age of just 16, struggled on the greens on the day 2, and he ended the day 5 over par on 149 points. Omondi Matthew and Joroge Brand are tied second in the Kenyan log with 2 under par. With a lucrative prize at the stake, golfers are expected to offer their best.
Cash prize is still the same as last year, 32,000 euros for the winning prize, which is just over 3.3 million shillings. So I think that is good money to play for. Those who come in for fun, they don't know what they're missing.
Wiki hii nafikiri naambia watulie, waseme ati sitashinda, tutaweza shinda kwa sababu bado niko tu nyuma yao. Haijulikani kitu yote inaweza fanyika.
Dismas Indiza, Brian Joroge and Matthew Mondi met the cut with a 2 under par after the rounds of 68 and 71 respectively, and they carry the hopes for Team Kenya. Moses Wahisi, KTN Sports.
Thank you very much, Robinson, for winding up our bulletin. As you can see, I'm back with DJ CK. He's done such an amazing job. So many people are appreciating what you've been able to give them. And of course, reading the news. I think you should come back soon.
Well, this time I'll ask you for a small check.
No, you said you're going to do it for charity, remember?
Okay, as long as we can give a charity to some charity of my choice.
I like
Why
that.
not?
Why not?
Yeah.
So very briefly, we don't have any time. Let's talk about Two Rivers, the biggest mall in Eastern Central Africa. How is that project coming?
This was a vision, a dream. Personally, I've always had, when I go to South Africa, and I go to Santon and I see what they have done.
Yes.
And I said, why can't we do this in Kenya? And really, Two Rivers is our Santon city.
I like that.
It is the largest mall in East Central Africa. We will have hotels, we'll have kids play areas, we'll have the biggest shopping supermarket.
Wow.
We're bringing Carrefour there, and you can take any shop you have in the city and put 3 of them inside Carrefour's shop. So
I like that. So when is the completion?
Towards the end of this year.
Wow,
we should
great.
have some stuff going on.
All right.
And the 2 is going to be the safest place you can go and stay, shop, enjoy yourself, have dinner, have lunch, and have your children enjoy life.
All right.
That to me is the biggest thing. Maybe we get KTN to come and do advertising
we'll
from
come
there.
do Friday briefing there. Why not?
Why not? That will be better.
All right. Thank you so much, CK.
But I'd like to thank all the people who are with us on all other media, the social world. This is my world. And I'd just like to promise them I'm going to look at all their queries and we are going to connect on Kirubi.
Perfect.
And if you like, Betty, we will connect them through you as well.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
I think it's been a good experience.
It has,
And please say hi to Sam for me.
I will. I'll say hi to Sister Sam Shelley. Thank you very much, CK. Pleasure having you on the show.
It was the best.
It was the best,
Wonderful
right?
Evening,
I know.
Yeah,
you can't
evening,
make this stuff up, as JKL would say, Jeff Koinange would say. All right, thank you so much for watching Friday Briefing. My name is Betty Kialo. And you are?
And I'm Chris Kirubi.
Good night and have a lovely weekend.